the level of death and destruction. The use of modern technology in the war was on a scale that had been unimaginable.
Some secrets from World War I were never buried with the dead. They still haunt history like unsolved crimes.
The deaths of Aubrey Hastings and hundreds of thousands of his comrades were assuredly a great tragedy, but they were not for nothing.
From spy rings hiding in plain sight to deadly plots unfolding in the shadows, this war was more than trenches and bullets. It was a battlefield of mystery, sabotage, and shocking betrayals.
The Battle of Verdun was so special because it was fought on a very small area.
Some of these stories are so strange, they sound like fiction, but they're real. With that in mind, here are the most chilling and bizarre unsolved mysteries from World War I.
Germany prepared to invade and crush France in a campaign of 40 days before turning on Russia. Europe had a war, but must the British be in it? Would they fight?
Belgium's mysterious glow-in-the-dark heroine. In the middle of one of the deadliest wars in history, soldiers in Belgium started seeing something strange, something way out of the usual battlefield horror show. No, it wasn't a new weapon. It was a woman, in white, gliding around bombed-out streets like she was on some ghostly stroll. They called her the White Lady of Belgium, and her story is one of the weirdest things to come out of World War I. It all started in 1914, during the brutal defense of Antwerp. Belgian soldiers were tired, scared, and pretty much running on fumes when they began spotting this mysterious woman in white. She didn't talk. She didn't stick around for autographs, but she sure had a talent for popping up when things got really bad, like during heavy shelling or chaotic retreats. Some swore she helped them escape. Others said she comforted the wounded and quietly stayed with the dying. A ghost nurse? A wartime angel? Nobody knew. What made things spookier? No one could get a good look at her. She was always just a blur of white in the shadows, gone before anyone could say, "Hey, did you see that too?" And when the war ended, her legend only grew. Survivors told the tale over and over. She became a symbol, not of fear, but of hope, kindness, and some much-needed comfort in a time full of death and despair. Of course, the theories started rolling in. Some believed she was a figment of the soldiers' imagination, born from exhaustion and trauma. Others were sure she was real, maybe a brave local woman who helped when no one else could. Then you had the ghost enthusiasts, convinced she was the spirit of someone lost in the chaos, refusing to leave her people behind. No one ever figured it out. No photos, no records, just stories, dozens of them, saying the same thing. There was a white lady, and she was there when people needed her most. Whether ghost, human, or hallucination, she became a silent hero in a war full of noise, and that's why she's still remembered today. Gallipoli's ghostly roll call. Gallipoli was already a nightmare without adding ghosts to the mix. But guess what? Some soldiers swore the battlefield was haunted, and not just by bad military decisions. Back in 1915, the Gallipoli campaign turned into one of World War I's biggest disasters. It dragged on for 8 brutal months, racking up tens of thousands of casualties, and leaving the Allies with little to show for it. But in the middle of all that chaos, a weird tale began to take shape. Soldiers claimed they were seeing ghosts. That's right there in the trenches, with bullets flying and shells exploding, troops reported spotting shadowy figures. These weren't just quick glances or distant shapes either. Some soldiers said the ghosts looked like old-timey warriors, wearing outdated uniforms and lugging around antique weapons, like they'd stepped straight out of a history book and into no man's land. And the creepiest part? These phantom soldiers didn't stick to one side. Both Allied and Ottoman troops saw them. Some even claimed the ghosts joined in the fighting. One minute you're shooting at the enemy, the next you're standing beside a hazy stranger in gear from another century. Of course, some people chalked it up to battlefield stress. When you're cold, hungry, sleep-deprived, and being shot at every 5 minutes, your brain can start throwing some wild hallucinations at you. Totally fair point. But then there's the more mystical idea, the one that keeps paranormal fans up at night. Some believe Gallipoli is a thin place. Basically, it's where the boundary between our world and the spirit world is worn down, letting ghosts slip through like nosy neighbors checking in. No matter which theory you like best, one thing's for sure. The ghosts of Gallipoli have become part of the legend. Whether they were real spirits stuck on repeat or figments of traumatized minds, they add a strange, eerie twist to an already tragic chapter in history. And in a place soaked in sorrow, maybe it's not so surprising that some things refuse to stay buried. The ghost army that walked into fog and never walked back. War has its fair share of mysteries, but this one feels like something out of a ghost story, if the ghost story involved 800 heavily armed French soldiers. It was early 1916, during the absolute nightmare that was the Battle of Verdun. This wasn't your average battlefield. This was mud, blood, and non-stop artillery for nearly a year. In the middle of all that chaos, a French unit nicknamed the Lost Battalion went marching off into the fog and never came back. Their mission seemed simple enough: recapture Fort Douaumont from the Germans. The battalion, made up of around 800 men, set off one cold, foggy morning. Witnesses say they were last seen trudging toward enemy lines, guns loaded and spirits high. By the time reinforcements arrived, not a single soul in sight. No fighting, no fallen bodies, just silence. Naturally, people went full detective mode. Some believed the battalion had been captured. Sounds reasonable, except the Germans never reported taking them. No records, no prisoners, nothing. Others thought they had just gotten lost in the endless maze of trenches and died in battle. Again, no physical evidence backed that up. No rifles, no boots, no dog tags, not even a dramatic letter home. Then there's the eerie theory. They wandered into the Zone Rouge. That was the most bombed-out piece of land in France, still off limits to this day. The place was littered with unexploded shells and soaked in poison gas. If the battalion ended up there, it's possible they were wiped out completely, leaving no trace behind. After the war, investigators tried everything to solve the case. They combed the area, cross-checked records, interviewed survivors. Still, nothing. The Lost Battalion had become exactly that. Lost. To this day, their story stands as one of the weirdest, creepiest unsolved events of World War I. It's a chilling tribute to just how unpredictable and unforgiving war can be. Now look at this strange photo. Soldiers lined up in unusual gear during World War I. It's believed to be an experimental project by Germany, but no one knows what exactly was being tested. The devices on their heads and chests remain a mystery. Were they testing mind control, communication, or something darker? What do you think these soldiers were really being used for? Let us know in the comments below. The submarines that played hide and creep. It's one thing to fight enemies you can see, but what if they keep vanishing before you can even aim? Welcome to Scapa Flow, a chilly patch of sea tucked between the Orkney Islands of Scotland. Back in World War I, this spot was the main hangout for the British Royal Navy. But beneath those icy waves lurked a strange and spooky mystery. Phantom submarines. It kicked off in November 1914, when HMS Dreadnought spotted a rogue periscope slicing through the water like a shark's fin. Alarms went off, depth charges were dropped, and a full-blown search began. But guess what? Nothing. No submarine, no wreckage, not even a bubble. Then in January 1915, it happened again. Two different British ships swore they saw a periscope. Cue more explosions, more splashing, and once again, absolutely no submarine to be found. This wasn't just a one-time scare. Sightings like this kept happening. The Royal Navy threw everything at them. Patrols, explosives, intense searches. But the mysterious underwater guests always vanished without leaving so much as an oily trail. Naturally, people started tossing around theories like confetti. Some said it had to be German U-boats doing sneak and peek missions. Clever, right? But there's one problem. Germany's wartime records don't back any of it up. Not a single, "Yep, that was us," anywhere. Others thought sailors, rattled by long hours and dark seas, might have been seeing things. Fair enough, those waters could mess with anyone's nerves. And then there's the weird crowd, the ones who say the submarines were ghosts, literal ghost subs, haunted torpedoes and all. Whatever the truth, Scapa Flow became more than just a naval stronghold. It turned into a spooky chapter of wartime folklore. Phantom submarines, whether real, imagined, or from the other side, haunted the Royal Navy's nerves. To this day, no one's cracked the case. But one thing's for sure, If you're out sailing near Scapa Flow, keep an eye on the waves. You never know what's watching back.